Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of an unusual project. For some of you that have been following, obviously I have a 3rd gen RAM that I put a 5th gen bumper on, and then afterwards I did add the fog lights to that bumper. Now one thing I've been thinking, obviously this truck doesn't have the backup sensors or the parking sensors, so the fog light kit I bought came with this bezel, and this is where your sensors would go, your parking sensors would go. Again, obviously this truck doesn't have that system, so I thought it would be kind of cool to put some type of lights in these to work either with the parking lights or even turn signals, or maybe even both. The solution that I came up with are these bullet lights. I've installed one here, and I like to do that with all the sensor holes on both sides. This is what I've purchased. I bought these 3/4 inch, I guess they're called bullet lights, snake eyes, even some. There's plenty of different names for them. And I got the 3-wired ones. That way I can have them on with my parking lights and the signal light. So when your turn signal is on, it will also flash and stay on with your parking lights. I got some of these 3-wire plugs. We'll wire those in, so in case we need to remove the whole bumper assembly or the fog light assembly, we can just quickly disconnect them and the whole thing will come apart. So these lights are actually fairly easy to install. You can pretty much install them anywhere with a 3/4 inch hole. It comes with a rubber grommet and it fits right into the hole and hangs on, and the light does actually slip in and out of this grommet if you have to. So they're very easy installation. People use them for trailer lights, market lights. Like I said, you could pretty much put them anywhere by drilling a 3/4 inch hole. Since I already have a hole where the parking sensors are, it just seems to be a perfect fit. Now remember, these are LED lights. Even though they are 3-wire, our truck was designed, or the whole system on this was designed to work with the incandescent bulb. So if you were to wire these straight in the way they are, white being the ground, this being the turn signal, and the black being the running light. The only problem with that is you will only get one function out of it. Now incandescent bulbs don't care which way the electricity flows, so it'll light up either way, but LED being diode, it will not light up unless the current's flowing the correct direction. So to take care of that, what you're going to need is some diodes, rectifier diodes. Now I have these left over from a different project, so I'll go ahead and use these. We'll be putting those in, so your ground will get connect directly to the wires, but the diodes will go in both of the power wires, so for the running light and for your turn signal. They are directional, so basically all these things do is allow the current to flow in one direction only, so it can't go the other way. They're usually marked with one end. We'll have a solid paint line on it. That's the direction the current should flow through there, being the line is on this end, so the current should come from this end to that end, so it won't flow the other way. So these will have to get attached in line with the red and the black wire on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. First thing we'll do is remove these covers. Again, these came with the kit when I bought the fog lights. So they're just plugs for these holes. That's all they are. Okay, so I'll go ahead and remove all of them. I mean, you can technically fit a light right in here if you went with a little bit of a bigger light. But I think it's a better idea to drill a hole in these caps and put the light into this, so that way the whole light is removable right with the cap. I was able to take this step drill and drill a 3/4 inch hole into this the sensor cap here. Here's what your original one would look like. Only thing you want to try to keep the hole as center as possible. That way your light's going to sit right in the center of the hole. So once you have a 3/4 inch hole in there, this grommet will fit right into that hole, and your light assembly will push right through that grommet, and the grommet holds it fairly well in there. So we'll go ahead and drill all of our caps, get the lights in there. Okay, so I have all 4 of the lights plugged in to the sensor hole plug. So these are ready to go. Our next step obviously is going to be figuring out the wiring, how we're going to wire them. Again, these are 3 wires, so I want them to run with the running lights, be on, and then also flash with the turn signals. And the way these are designed, there's a white wire, a red wire, and a black wire. On these, the white wire is your ground, red wire is your bright, and black wire is your normal light. So basically, black wire will connect to our running light, red wire will connect to our turn signal, and that's how we'll make the connection. Our turn signal is obviously in the headlight here, so we'll have to take the headlight out. What holds these lights in, there's 2 10mm screws in the front. There's one here, one here. Again, those are 10mm. Let's go ahead and remove those. To the wheel well side here, and if you look inside the fender here, there's a plug right behind where the headlight sits in the fender well on the inner liner. There's a plug, so if you take a screwdriver or plier or anything like that, you need to remove that plug, kind of like so, and that will expose a 10mm nut behind it, which holds the headlight from the back. So let's go ahead and remove that. So I have the headlight out, and we'll go off of this turn signal light. Since this is the one that's a turn signal and the running light, so we'll tap off of these wires for that. The center one looks like it comes on as a running light. And that would be your turn signal. I took the wire loom off just so we can access the wire a little better to make our connections. Center wire is our running light, which is yellow, kind of with a black or a tan stripe, and our white wire is our turn signal. It's white with brown stripe, and we have our ground on the other end, which is a black wire. So let's go ahead and make our connections. So I was able to tie into it back here, into those 3 wires, and I got the wire running down. So we have our connection made behind the headlight to our turn signal and our running light, and I have the wire hanging here. So now we'll go ahead and put the plug on this end and connect our light. We're going to go ahead and use these the 3-wire plug. Now, a couple of things I used were these the heat shrink connectors, and some shrink tube in here. This is a kit that I got that comes with the heat gun and everything, and you can use them to also shrink these connectors. They have the solder right in them. It makes your life much easier. You just put them on the wires, heat them up, solder melts in and makes a good connection. And again, I use some of this shrink tubing to cover up the diodes that I put in line, and then I wrapped everything up with the fabric tape. So this is the type of connection you get by using these solder connects here. Very easy to use. Just slip it on over both of the wires. You can use a heat gun. I've always used a lighter or a heat gun. Lighter works quicker. It just melts the solder, joins both of the wires, and the tubing shrinks around the wire to create a nice weatherproof seal. And that's perfect. And then I'll take the fabric tape it all up so it's nice and tight, and we'll go ahead and install it in the truck. I was able to finish up all the wiring. I went ahead and taped everything up. I did put the diodes in line here, and I used some shrink tubing to cover them, so that way they're not going to have any corrosion issues or anything like that. And I went ahead and taped everything with the wonderful fabric tape. Again, I did use these 3-wire plugs, so if we need to ever disconnect the bumper or the fog lights, it could just be unplugged here, and we're able to remove everything, so nothing is hardwired. And I did the same thing on the other side here. Here's the connection on the driver's side or the passenger side. I was able to clip that in there, and these 2 wires are going to the lights that we just put in. Let's go ahead and test out the lights and see how they look. This is how the lights came out. Running lights. That's the passenger side. Now this is how it will flash with the turn signal. That's if you have the running lights on. Now with the running lights off, if you just have the turn signal, the flasher going, it's basically an on-off. We'll take a little better look outside. That's with our parking lights on. Flashers on. Running lights and our flashers on. Kind of hard to tell on camera. Also, I see the color looks a little different on camera, but I really like how bright they are. Fog lights on. And that's how they turned out. Thank you for watching.